Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I am from executeautomation.com and welcome to part 15 of our C# for automation testing video series. And in this video, we'll be talking about working with generic collections for custom types. In our previous video, we were talking about working with generic collections for a type which is available in C#, which we use something called a string array. And in this video, we'll be talking about working with generic collections for a custom type, meaning we're going to create our own type to store the value within the collection. So before watching this part, I would request you to watch part 14 so that you will have a clear understanding of what this video is going to talk about. Alright, so let's get started. Generic collections with custom class. With generic collections, we can pass in any type for our dictionary or list that we have. In our last video, we did something like this. We created a method in which we pass a string array for the dictionary, and the dictionary has a key which stores the 1, 2, or 3 in there for the informations of the user. But this has two problems. The first one is the user information was stored in as a string array as opposed to an user type. If suppose I want to get the information of the user, let's say the user's name, then I somehow have to iterate in the for each loop, which is available right next to within a for each loop of the dict called users info, and I just have to iterate and get the value out from it. And again, I don't really have a handle of the particular user's information, like whether the information is Karthik or it has the age is 30 or it has an email address or phone number. It was very pain in the butt because it doesn't really have any metadata to tell that this information belongs to a name, which is Karthik, and 30 is an age, and kk@kk.com is an email. So these were some of the pain, and this we say that it is not a strongly typed as well. It's just a collection of strings within an array, which is a pain. So how to overcome this problem then? Create a custom type user, something like this. So we can create an auto-implemented properties like public string name, public int age, public string email, public int 64 of the phone number. So if we create something like this, then probably we can store all the information within a collection and then we can retrieve the value out from it. So in this example, we're going to call a list as opposed to dictionary, something like this. So we're going to store the list of user and then we're going to make the operation out that. So let's see how this works very quickly. For that, I'm going to flip to Visual Studio. So this is the same project that we worked in our previous video of this video series, and we created a collection of values or the user informations as a string array. So this time what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this guy as it is, and I'm going to create a new method here, and let's name this as public void generic collections with custom class. So within this generic collection with custom class method, we are going to perform the operations that we did here. Instead of string array, we're going to work with a custom type. So the first and foremost thing which I'm going to do is to create a custom type. So for that, I'm going to create a class, and the class is a type, right? So I'm going to create a class with user, and here I'm going to create what is called as a auto implemented properties. Remember, in our previous videos of this course, we worked with the auto implemented properties, which is basically a properties to hold the information which has a getter and a setter. So I'm just going to create a property, and let's give this as a name, string as a type, and for the property I'm just going to give the name. So basically we're going to hold the name, the age, email, and the phone number. So the age is going to be an integer, so I'm just going to call this as an integer, and that's going to hold the age. And then I'm going to hold the email, and then I'm going to hold what is called as a phone number. Since phone numbers are 10 digit or maybe more than that, sometimes if you add the country code, it is always best that I use int64. So I'm just going to use int64 and the phone number, right? So these are the informations that I'm going to store in the collection. So I'm just going to save this. So this is my custom type user. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make use of this guy within our collection. So if you want to get the user's informations with an ID, maybe what you can do, you can just create an integer and you can say that the user ID is something like that, right? So you can just get the user informations as well. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a list of what is called as a generic type. And here I'm going to pass the type. So you can see that it's expecting me to pass a type, and T is a custom type or any generic type. So I'm just going to pass what is called as user, and let's call this as users is equal to new list of users, right? It's pretty much exactly the same like what we did for the dictionary, but here we're using the custom type user. And to add, once again, it's very simple. Just call the users dot, and there is a method called add, and you can just call the add. And now here you note that it's expecting us to pass the user item, and the user is actually a class. So remember, for any type that you call and pass in some of the value, you need to call that instance of the particular class using new keyword and new of user. And if you're going to make use of the members of that particular class, then you just open the braces, and if you just hit control space, you can see all the different kinds of properties or auto implemented properties that we created within the class appears here. So user ID is equal to maybe 1, and the name is going to be Karthik, and the age is going to be 30, and email is going to be kk@kk.com, and phone number is going to be something like this, right? There we go. So this is how you can add the information for user within the list, right? Similarly, you can add for the other two users, which is nothing but the user Sam and Jacob, I believe. Yep, Sam and Jacob. So you can just add maybe Sam, and here it's gonna be Jacob, and for the age 30 you can just make 40, and here let's say 20, and let's say sam@sam.com, and jacob@jacob.com. Phone number, we can just change any values right here. All right, let's make this to 2 and 3. Let's save this. So this is how you can add the values for the list of users. But there is another way of adding the list of users as opposed to this, because this is kind of not very readable. In order to make this even more readable, what we used to do is I can just maybe comment this piece of code. I will show you how it looks like, not adding all the values though. So you can use something like list of users, user, and users is equal to new list of user. You can do something like this. Instead of the semicolon, you can use a braces, something like this, and then you can close the semicolon. And here, if you type the new of user, if you type something like this, you can see you can still add the user ID as 1, and name as Karthik, and age is equal to 30, and email and the phone number is equal to something. So you can do something like this as well. And for adding the next record, you can just put comma there, and again new of user, and you can add for the another user. So this is kind of readable than compared to this one, because in long run this is very neat to hold all the values than compared to this, because maybe it will be confusing in the long run, and this is kind of very readable. So you can use this way as well. So anything is still fine. You can use any one of the way if you want. So maybe for this demonstration we can use the first one, because it's not very complex data out there, but just keep in mind that there is some other way as well. So you can do that. And now the next thing is we need to retrieve the value out from the collections. So for doing that, the very simple thing is, once again the for each loop. And within this for each loop, what you can do, you can just iterate through the collections, and the collection is nothing but the users. I'm gonna iterate through all the user information. So here you can see this time if I just type user and hit dot, you can see I can get all the properties out from it. Whereas in our previous demonstration, we couldn't do that. Even though we kind of iterate through all the dictionaries, we somehow have to get all the values from the particular key value pair, and within this we have to iterate through all the user as a raw. And even if I just do user dot, we don't have any information because user is still a string, so you cannot get all the values out from it. Whereas in our custom type, if I type user and hit dot, you can see I can get its related properties there, like name, phone number, user ID, email, and age. And right now I have a handle or the metadata of what this particular information is really talking about within the user. So I can even make this even more sense in this particular code, and you can see something like this. I'm going to use something called as string.format method, which is available in C# to give a pretty output here. So I'm going to say the user, which is nothing but Karthik, with age, has an email and phone number, and then you can just put comma there, and you can pass the object as an arguments, and the argument is going to be the user, and if you hit dot, you can get the name, and again a comma, user dot, you can say the age, and user dot email, oops, and user dot phone number, then hit a semicolon there. That's it. So you can see that I can get all the information out from here right now. And I can just save it, and now if I try to run this particular piece of code, it will execute. And you can see that this code have only one for each loop as opposed to two for each loops. And you can see we also have a handle of which information we require. But here, if you can see, I don't really have a handle of which information I require or not, because it just gives all the information, Karthik 30, KK 2345. If I execute this, you can see that it gives me all the information here regardless of which information I require, because we don't have a handle of the information out from this particular collection. But here I have a handle, and you can see that I have skipped the user ID. I'm just getting the information of name, age, email, and phone number, and it still works. So how to execute this? Again, let's call this method into our what is called as the main method. Just gonna save it right here. All right, and seems like this particular method is not static yet, so let's make this a static. I'm gonna save this, and now if I try to execute this code, you can see we have a pretty good output here. The user Karthik with age 30 has email kk@kk.com, and phone number is this. Similarly for Sam and Jacob. And you can see this time we have a handle over the data that we are passing in, and it's also very readable, and it's a strongly typed as well. You can see that we can get the value out by hitting a dot there, and we get the right value with a full collection of informations and storing the information in a list. And you can do a lot more operation from this. Actually, this is just an introduction for collection. So if you do what is called as a link queue operation, or let's say if you want a specific data to be displayed, then you can easily do that using the link operations. So basically you don't have to worry about link for now, because link is going to be a far advanced topic for a basic course of C# in automation testing. So maybe we can talk about that in advanced course, but as of now, this is how it is, right? So this is how you can get the information out from a collection using a custom type by making it more strongly typed for reading the data out from a collection. So that's it, guys. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day.